What that video was attempting to portray was the passage of a young woman through life and giving access to the economic opportunity that is India. And what I'd like to talk about now is the way forward. Again, we've talked already about the scale of the opportunity and the scale of the challenge. We've talked about the historic cities, the US cities, and we'll come back to that. But what I'd like to talk about is something that embodies a focus on the taxpayer and the user that allows people to do service-level approach to planning. What we heard in the first panel was a lot about the big things that need to be done, and what I'd like to focus on is providing the direct services to the individuals that gives them the access to the improved quality of life and the access to the economic opportunities to forge a new future for India. There are some clear issues that need to be addressed. And one of the things in all of our videos, and everybody has a video, and they all show all modern computer renderings of videos, of cities and how cities evolve. We need to make sure that we do not lose the great history that is India, the history of the architecture, the public places. But at the same time, we learn how to harvest water from cities. We learn about solar cells on streets, and we learn that we must protect the public interest. Revisiting the smart city. Clearly, digital access is important, and digital access is a facilitator to the individual's role in society. It is not a precursor and it is not a replacement. And so there's a great need to focus on ICT as the facilitator rather than the core of an individual's relationship with the city and with his or her government. What I'd like to talk a little bit about is focusing on the customer, the user, and the taxpayer. Most city infrastructure, most city businesses focus on a series of silos of programs and services, be it water, be it garbage collection. And what we would like to advocate is a focus on the individual, the user of those services, rather than the services themselves. And this will generate a new sense of accountability, and it will produce a responsibility within the public service that delivers true value to the citizens. When we focus at this level, what I'd like to do is talk about a city strategy. And my bullseye is disappearing, but it focuses on cities throughout India. And it allows people to make connections. It allows people to focus on what is truly important. Infrastructure in itself and the city services that are provided allow people access to that economic opportunity, to the right to an education, to the right to development. They are not an end in themselves, they are a facilitator. And as we proceed through the other discussions, what I would like to focus on is and ask and challenge my other panelists to focus on how that provides good services to the citizens. Not simply how does it build a beautiful city, but how does it provide good services to the citizens. Interestingly, we have statewide planning at this point. We advocate a national approach so that we don't find competition and the wasting of resources amongst the various states and amongst the various cities. I think it's very, very important as we go through this, we create a synergy between states representing all of India's various attributes, that we service and we specialize in individual cities whereby they can create the greatest possible advantage for their citizens. Now, I recognize that I've just given a 20-minute presentation in about 5 minutes, but I'm trying desperately to keep us all on schedule. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much and pass to my next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beatty. You get 2 fruit baskets for keeping things tight without me reminding the speakers to do so. We're going to insist to the extent we can that everybody tries to stay within 10 minutes. As I said earlier, I'm a Canadian. I'm very polite. My tendency would be to let you go along, so please don't make me cut you off. I'd hate to do that. Next up is K. Anathrashan. I hope I got that roughly right. No, I think, are we down here? Yeah, we're down here, not directly in order on the table. Mr. Anathrashan is Chief Technology Officer of Tata Consultancy Services. Sir.
Thank you, Kevin. My pleasure to be here and share my thoughts on the vision for 100 smart cities and how they can contribute to the wealth of our nation. What I'm going to talk about is a little bit of a recap of the vision itself. We heard the Honorable Minister and the Secretary for Government of India set the vision. I'm going to talk about what is it going to take for us to get to that vision from a perspective of India, from a perspective of government, people, and technology companies like ourselves. A lot of this learning is from the research that I and my team have been engaged in for the last several years with the global ecosystem. The TCS ICT lab is in Singapore with the Singapore Management University, and many of the thoughts that I'm going to express today are from that lab. The Indian smart city context is clearly very visionary because, like we heard our previous speaker, the as-is state, the today's state is not very, very encouraging. We have limited degrees of basic services, limited access to channels, poor conditions of physical infrastructure across most cities in India. But the vision is pretty good in the sense that we want to be world-class. We want to be making in India smart cities. I like the concept of not losing the culture, not losing the uniqueness of India in many of the things that we'll do. What is it that we need to do this? We, of course, need to get the basics right. We need the leverage of information communications technologies to the extent possible, given that today's technology is relatively inexpensive, it's relatively widespread, and there is a lot of knowledge of doing this in different contexts across the world. This part, I'm fairly confident we'll do it well. Smart government, planning and governance, financial management, social welfare projects, operational frameworks. A lot of people have done this. There are frameworks available, and this, I think, is less of a concern. This is the top-down view of what a city government would need to put in to enable itself from an ICT perspective to be smart. It's not complex, but it still needs to be done, but doable. I think the bigger challenge is to go from smart cities to intelligent cities. For that, we need to create and leverage the smart citizen. Why is this necessary? Because this is now the 21st century. This is about 70 years since the information revolution started. The proliferation of technology today in the hands of each of us as individuals, as citizens, as visitors to the city, as participants in this ecosystem is unprecedented. I read a statistic somewhere that is quite mind-boggling, that there are more people in India who own mobile phones than who actually use toothbrushes. Right? It's a very, very amazing statistic that the proliferation of technologies has gone to that extent. The number of mobile phones in the world is going to cross the human population anytime now. This week is what Ericsson has predicted in their global report. So the availability of access to technology is something that every smart city must put in the hands of the smart citizen. A smart citizen is worried about all the things that you see on the left. The core is that can the smart city enable the things in the middle of this chart: daily living, employment, lifelong education, lifelong health, recreation, access to urban resources. Then you can move to the right, which is creation of wealth and a value-based population system. This is, I think, the bigger challenge. Most cities today, I think, are doing well on what I described in the previous chart, which is to put the basic infrastructure from a physical perspective and a basic infrastructure from an ICT perspective. If you have a city governance platform, great, that's a necessary building block. But to move from smart to intelligent, I think we really need to put our heads together and think about the smart citizen and how does one really make the citizen consume the smartness of the city. And therefore, that building block of smart people through a citizen engagement platform will then link up to this infrastructure that we're talking about. From smart people, we can have smart living connecting to smart governance, smart environment, managing the energy, smart mobility, managing the traffic and the physical movement of people, and then eventually wealth creation in the smart economy. Unless we get the smart people piece right, all the others will be pretty disjointed and not really effective as a system of systems. And that, I think, is a lesson that our research program in Singapore and the experiments that we have done in India as well have started yielding results on. The iCity, therefore, to move from smart cities to iCities is another proposal that I'd like to put before this August audience. Is integrated, it's interactive, it connects with the citizens, it's inclusive, it goes across all parts of the population of the city, it's not limited to people who have access to technology. It's hopefully innovative in the sense that you can use the power of the digital forces, social media, for example, to really be generating innovation and intelligence across all these sectors of the city, whether it's health, whether it's education, whether it's security, sustainability, and so on. This is the vision of iCities that I think is very much within reach from an India perspective, from the 100 Smart Cities program, and I would say that this is an opportunity that we should not let go from what we can do. Of course, as CTO of TCS, I cannot but resist putting up a technology chart. All these technologies are necessary. They are complex in themselves, but the good news is that we do understand them. India as a country is now a very active participant in the global ICT ecosystem. All these technologies are familiar, they are within reach, and I don't think technology will be the bottleneck. The usage of technology may become the bottleneck. Let me just point out to one or two of them before I conclude. We have to think about aspects of the physical world connecting to the ICT infrastructure. Everything on the top left of the diagram that you see, sensor data integration, mobile enablement, and so on. These are, and devices, these are things that we have to be able to do well. There's an opportunity to do these at scale in India, and I think we have an opportunity to lead the world in these. At the bottom end of this diagram, which is human-centric modeling, services design, multi-domain simulation, privacy and security, these are challenges which have not been solved anywhere in the world. We have the opportunity to be leading world thought in this. The research problems, the technology challenges in these are things that will attract the best of global talent to come towards and help us solve these problems in our context. So technologies are there, some of them exist, some of them are well understood. huge, enormous opportunities for us to attract the best of global technology and research talent across the world to help us get to the next level. To conclude, the pillars of a smart city. We saw the diagram that I put up here in the Secretary's presentation in the earlier session. I think we need to attack all the 4 pillars: the social, the physical, the institutional, and the economic infrastructure, leading to higher degrees of sustainability, employment, and quality of life. And citizen engagement and technology will play an enormously important role in this. Thank you very much.
We have Jagdish Salgaonkar from the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor Development Corporation Limited. He's going to give us one of 2 examples of smart city developments that are currently ongoing.
Good morning, everyone. The example that I'm going to talk about today is Dholera, SIR. SIR stands for the Special Investment Region. It's a special act that was enacted in Gujarat and gets the status of a city-like structure. The Dholera SIR actually is part of the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor. Most of you know that there is a dedicated freight line that's going between Delhi and Mumbai. And the genesis for that freight line was a goods transfer that typically took anywhere up to 14 days, is now going to be cut down to less than a day. But when the corridor was planned, the thought was that let's use this freight line and then let's dedicate an area of 150 square kilometers on either side of this corridor, of this freight line, to call it a dedicated freight corridor and make it an industrial zone. Along this zone, there is going to be 24 cities that are going to be coming up in the next 30 years, the first 7 of which have been planned, and Dholera is the largest, first smart city that's actually taken off the ground, and I'll give you a little glimpse of that. So why is, a lot of questions come up as to why is Dholera so far away from the nearest metropolitan city? People would think that maybe the chances of developing a brand new greenfield city is closer to an existing metropolitan community. The fact is that when you locate yourself to an existing major township, the land is very difficult to get. It's expensive, and building people consensus is extremely difficult. Being a greenfield project and the way we wanted to build it, it's starting from scratch and taking it in a remote area made more sense. But in order to make it successful, we need connectivity. And that's what we are providing. We are providing connectivity through a new expressway between Ahmedabad and Dholera. It's a 6-lane expressway. And we're also providing connectivity through rail lines as well as a metro rapid transit system. This is what it looks like now. Pretty pristine land. Open, wide spaces, totally green field. The largest town is the town of Dholera. That's where it gets its name from. And its inhabitants are a total of 5,300 people. It's not a project, really. What we're doing here is nation building. You've heard a lot of people discuss how India is being transforming into a new India. And this is our first smart and sustainable city, which really is going to set the pace for the rest of India. Some key indicators, the total square mile, the square area is 920 square kilometers for the entire Dholera, of which approximately 340 square kilometers is in the coastal regulatory zone. So we cannot really build in that zone except with some special permission, and we do have a plan to build a solar plant there. But the area that can be developed is 580 square kilometers. So put that in perspective, the country of Singapore is 660 square kilometers, the total country. So you can see how big and large this new city is going to be. When it's completed in 30 years, the total population expected is about 2 million people. And we hope to create about 800,000 plus jobs, creating a more vibrant economy in Dholera. The industries, when completed, that are going to be targeted fall in these categories. By policy, we have excluded polluting industries. Gujarat has a statute that they have grouped industries into three categories, red, green, and yellow. The red are the polluting industries by certain definitions, essentially create a waste that cannot be recycled or reused. Gujarat has plenty of those, especially in the petrochemical textile. So this SIR is going to exclude all polluting industries, but whatever you see on the list there is the kinds of industries we are right now signing MOUs for. So anyone interested in this audience who wants to talk to me later, we can discuss. Some quick milestones for you. One of the questions that kept coming up yesterday in sessions was, how long does it really take to build a new city? The answer, it really depends. It depends on the country, it depends on the geography, and it depends if you are rehabilitating an old city or if you are actually building a greenfield city. In our case, we are building a brand new city from scratch. As you saw, there is nothing on the ground there, so we have to start from the bottom up. And something like this can take 5 to 10 years. In our case, the act was enacted in 2009. It takes a couple years to complete the master planning. The master planning is very extensive because it's not just the technical master planning, but it also includes public hearing process. Because once the master plan is adopted, it needs to be notified, meaning the entire public living in that area through the public hearing process, and that process takes time. And after the master planning was completed, we had to get the environmental clearances, and as of today, we have all the clearances as of August. And then you start the designs. And the design takes anywhere from 6 months to a year. And just last month, we have floated our first tender for the roads and services for Dholera. So we expect that in less than 5 months, we would start construction, and the construction will take about 3 to 5 years. So by 2017 or 18, Dholera should be in business. Now, when you look at, in the master plan, what we started was, instead of doing the entire 920 square kilometers, we broke that down into different schemes. And we planned it over 30 years with 6 schemes. And what we are building in the next 10 years is scheme 1 and 2, which is a total of 150 square kilometers. Just to put that in perspective, the entire Dholera that's being developed is 422 square kilometers. The phase 1 is 153, but even then, that was too large an investment because that would have cost us close to 30,000 crores of rupees, which is about $7-8 billion just to get the trunk infrastructure. We decided on a strategy called the activation area strategy, which is a much smaller component, about 22.5 square kilometers. And that, to put that in perspective, that's the size of the city of Mumbai. So it's not a small area by any means. It could be a vibrant community in itself, but that's what we are targeting, is to build this activation area first. And the trunk infrastructure that we're building in this activation area is in all those categories: the roads, water, sewage, stormwater, you name it. Everything that you need to make a city functional is going to be built. Anything that's road and underneath the roads is going to be built in the next 3 to 5 years. So what makes that city a smart? I think a lot of people have answered that question. It definitely is just not technology. Technology plays a role, but more than technology, I think a smart city is a city that's designed correctly and it's operated correctly, so it enhances the lives of its citizens and community. That's really the all-inclusive definition of smartness. And in our case, what we have done is, we have these different pillars, or the circles as I call them, of smartness. So all of them have to be catered to, but I am going to focus on the first circle, which is the smart infrastructure, trunk infrastructure. So these are the areas. Let me talk about each one of these components now. So in transportation, there are many smart things that need to be designed properly. And so when you look at traffic management, signalization, just laying out the roads and services, how do you plan all of the different roads? In the old ways of doing business, you would just lay out a road and that was it. But nowadays, with the technology that we have, we can manage the traffic signalization, we can minimize the number of lanes, and depending on the traffic, you can change the lanes during the time of the day. So those are all the things that we are actually planning in Dholera. And something that I wanted to point out here is, if you look at the typical cross-section on the bottom of the screen, all the utilities are properly planned underneath the roadways. And one thing unique that we have done is we have done an extensive master plan for ICT, And we have tried to figure out what the bandwidth requirement is going to be over the next 30 to 40 years. And we have actually embedded within the sidewalks all of the piping that would be needed to pass the fiber to the home for the next 30 years. So none of the roads would ever have to be dug up again. That's the planning that we are undertaking. On the water side, it definitely is a holistic approach. We are looking at all the different aspects of water, and then as we design the systems, we want to make sure that we are minimizing the water use. We are going to put in place development control regulations for low flow fixtures, for water pricing strategies, by which we're going to limit the amount of per capita usage to 135, which is an international best practice. Even in the US, for most part, the per capita usage varies between 160, 170 to more than 200, and we are targeting 135 through a combination of regulations as well as design. The non-revenue water, in India, the standard is close to 30 to 40%, depending on the age of the city, but we are planning about 5%. So these are all strategies that we are planning through proper design. On the wastewater side, our goal is 100% recycling, zero discharge. The recycled wastewater will be used. For irrigation, for industrial use, as well as for washdowns and cleanup. Something unique that we have done in Dholera is because of the topography, it allowed us to practice a very unique approach. The land in Dholera is extremely flat and it's close to a coastal zone, so it was extremely difficult to grade and drain the area through storm drainage system. So what we ended up doing actually is we've created a man-made lake of sorts, which actually acts as a storm drainage canal capturing system, and the water that we collect to the tune of 500 million liters is going to be harvested back into the system. So this is our holistic water approach, where we actually take the water, the rainwater, and we are recycling it back into the system. In addition to that, not only we saved money because a storm drain system would have cost us about 600 crores, this system is costing us only 300 crores. So in the process of saving money, we have actually enhanced the livability aspect, and we're actually going to increase the property value, because people living on the lake will probably have a higher property value than otherwise they would. On the solid waste management side, again, our goal is 100% collection, which seems like a pretty reasonable goal in the Western world, but in India it is not so yet at this point. So we are going to collect 100%. We are going to do segregation at source, and we are going to do treatment. And the treated solid waste will either be used as composting, or it will be used for co-generating, mixed with biosolids, and used for energy generation. Something that we've realized in solid waste business here in India is, as India is getting more and more industrialized, the packaging actually has increased. So the amount of solid waste in India has gone up tremendously. And something that we're going to try and work with the central government is to create regulations, whereas just like in the Western world, limit the amount of packaging, or even if you have to package, then make sure that the packaging is recyclable. Finally, on the power side as well, everything is smart. I think the power is an area where the smartness has come in the earliest in most countries. In Gujarat, you've heard that the amount of renewable energy is pretty high, and we are also planning some solar park later on in Gujarat in phase 2 actually. And then finally, ICT, which is the icing on the cake, is what really pulls it all together, is the different components through technology, how we connect them. So how do we include smart metering? How do we include the technology and then bring it all together in a central command control room where we can actually make decisions? The key in smartness, all this, is to collect data and to analyze that data and give the data back to the consumers, who can then make smart decisions, whether the usage of electricity or the use of water. So finally, what really makes Dholera smart and sustainable is, the word smart comes first. It's a buzzword, but really we believe that designing anything from a sustainable standpoint, along with the right amount of automation and intelligence, is what makes something smart. And ICT is definitely an enabler, and that's what our Dholera Smart City is going to be. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next up is Michael Hagman, a counselor from the Embassy of Sweden, and I will encourage speakers again to work through their presentations as quickly as they can. Thank you.
So, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chair. I would first of all like to extend my thanks to the organizers of the event. I'm also very pleased to be here in Gujarat. Second time for me. It's very nice to be back. I'm here to talk about the Symbiocity approach that we in Sweden have, or that we have developed over a number of years, and it's smart cities in Swedish, so to say. I will give you a gist of the concept as such, and then I will give you two examples. After the presentation that we heard just previously, my two presentations will probably look like a pocket park compared to that when it comes to size. But anyway, there are two brownfield projects in the city of Stockholm. And I was delighted to hear that previous speakers referred to Sweden as a good example. And I'm proud of that, of course, being a Swede and working for the government. We all know that cities are the engines of growth, but they are also the ones generating problems. At the same time, of course, they can be solution providers. If you have a critical mass of people, you can have infrastructure that is sufficient, you can have BRT systems, you can have waste management, you can have all the different treatment systems. Just so you know where we are talking, what kind of country we are talking about, we're talking about Sweden, far up there. Very up in the north. So it's not the country that makes the beautiful watches and the chocolate in the middle of Europe. We're 9.7 million inhabitants. So compared to a number of cities here in India, we're actually smaller than a number of them. 85% urbanized, and we are actually one of the quickest urbanizing countries in Europe still. So we'll probably be 100 in a few more years. And we've heard that India and Gujarat is urbanizing rapidly. And of course, you will have a number of challenges to face. And I must say that I think that the smart city concept launched by the government and Mr. Modi is a great one. And also a gathering like this, getting knowledge and experience from different corners of the world, bringing it in, discussing, looking, feeling, touching, and preferably, of course, coming to each country and visibly seeing it as well, but also to experience and then utilize that knowledge, not copy it. You should never copy something done in another country. As previous speakers also said, you need to adapt it to the local circumstances. And I'm glad to say that the Swedish concept, the Symbiocity concept, is adaptable, scalable, and it's based on knowledge and experiences gained over 40 years by our companies and municipalities. So we have a number of good companies, also represented here in the hall, that are experts in localizing these solutions. Yeah, we've touched upon all these problems that you are facing as politicians or me as a civil servant in the government. You try to solve them as good as you can with a limited resources, etc., etc. Usually we tend to solve them in isolation. We solve the waste matter, put it on the landfill, or we incinerate, end of issue, and then we continue with the next one. Usually that is not sufficient. There are other gains, synergies to be utilized if you actually combine different sources. For example, we are a cold country in the winter, so we needed, like the minister from Denmark said, district heating and district cooling actually in the summer. So we use waste to incinerate. So we actually import waste from Norway and other countries to incinerate and generate power and heat for our country. But you can also, of course, utilize energy from the sewage treatment plant, combine it with household waste, and generate biogas to run your BRT system. That would be an option here in Gujarat, for example. A localized fuel, ending a problem, waste problem, reducing the amount of waste going to landfill, etc. And it just happens to be that we have two of the main good companies in the bus sector that are Swedish, and we also have a company in the waste management handling system that is good in sucking organized and segregated waste. and they have a facility here in Gujarat, in Gift City as well. Just happened to be, just a coincidence. So, but back to the examples. This is a snapshot of my hometown, more or less, city of Stockholm. This is a brownfield, as you can see. This was taken in the beginning of the 90s. But the question is it possible to change this one into this derelict city district into a more attractive, vibrant city district? And if so, how do you actually do it? This size then is 160 hectares. So you see it's more or less as one of the parks, maybe. These are also a few of the picturesque pictures. These maybe not the ones that the city of Stockholm would like me to show, trying to get tourists to the city, but this was what the area looked like at the end of the 80s and beginning of the 90s. So you can imagine that was not a place where you went in on the Friday afternoon or anything like that. In '94, the government, the city of Stockholm then developed a plan, a master plan for the area, purchasing the land that wasn't owned by the city. The city was owned the majority of it. Started to excavate. There was a lot of pollution in the area, and also put a lot of infrastructure into the area. As pointed out in the corridor, of course, when you do things like this, the value of the land goes up dramatically. So the city of Stockholm put in roughly 500 million euros into the area, but private investors, house builders, etc., they put in 3.5 billion euros, developing this area into something that will then in 2018 look like more or less this. It's actually just the part up there in the left-hand corner for you that isn't built yet. Otherwise, it's completed more or less. We have 11,000 apartments in this area. 24,000 inhabitants will live there, and another 10,000 people will work there. This is prime. I mean, this is environmentally friendly area, high goals, easy access to the city, because the city were thinking, just as pointed out before, when they started to plan. So they put in a lot of infrastructure, such as light tram, BRT systems, and other things, even a ferry to commute for the people. Energy, this is an environmentally friendly city district, so there were tough goals. The idea was that they should have the environmental impact of just 50% compared to other areas built in the same time. So the electricity generated in the area is based on waste to 50%. And they also utilize the heat from the sewage water in an adjacent building or sewage treatment plant. So they pump back the warm water that you use in the shower in the morning, and you give it back so you can heat your apartment in the afternoon. I think we'll have a visitor soon. So,
Mr. Hegman, you'll have to wait for a second. We have to... Please join me in extending a very warm welcome to our Honorable Chief Minister, Srimati Anandiben Patel, the first woman Chief Minister of Gujarat State. We heartily welcome you, ma'am. It is our pleasure to have you over here. I would now request Shri G.R. Aloria, sir, Additional Chief Secretary, to kindly welcome Madam with the fruit basket.
Huh? I hope so.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I think I'll take another hour or so. No. No. 5-6 minutes, no. Okay. Thank you. Chief Minister, it's an honor to meet you again. I had the great pleasure of meeting you in September when Ambassador Hofström was here with the transport delegation. So I've had the great pleasure of meeting you before. It's nice to be here in your state. So, where were I? I was at the Swedish fika, the Swedish Friday coffee and bun activity. No, this is, how was it done? What was needed to reach the goals established by the city of Stockholm? First of all, political vision and leadership. And I would say that is just like echoing the previous speaker, the Honourable Minister that stood here before me, about Modi's vision. It's exactly what you need. You need someone that is focused, committed, follows up, goes back, asks the hard questions, and want people to deliver. You also need, it's a coordinated effort, of course. The whole city needs to be joining hands and joining forces. So what you see here is actually colleagues of mine back in the beginning of the 90s. I used to work for the city of Stockholm then as well. So planning the area. There are people from different walks of the municipality. So I worked for the administration of health, and there are planners, etc., discussing how to take things forward. A very detailed, of course, program with high environmental standards and quality objectives were developed that needed to be reached by the builders. There were programs, you know, for roof pitches and how big the balconies should be, etc., and colors and glass and facade. Everything was detailed to the nitty-gritty. What materials you weren't allowed to use. For example, PVC was not allowed. Just one example. So a lot of work and effort was put in the beginning, and that's coming back to planning as a tool. That is the key. That is key. Planning as a tool to reach more sustainable development. These show just a few, or actually quite a few, of the different flows of things in the city district. It shows how water is treated and how it goes from the household, the individual person that we heard before, to a sewage treatment plant that then uses it in one way, and a fertilizer ends up somewhere, etc. Everything is interlinked. And how to utilize these synergies. The biogas, as I said, is going for buses. Wastewater treatment is also carried out through other means. So this is, I would say, symbiosity in practice. Just also give you some other glimpses of the area. This is the first city district in Stockholm that had a special solid vacuum, household vacuum system. The waste segregation takes place at 3 different levels: property-based, block-based, and area-based, different kinds of waste. You have experts in the audience that can tell you more about how this is done. And it's also done here, as I said, in Gift City. So, no traffic in the area thanks to this system. Transport is otherwise a key thing in a city. In this area, they have a number of modes of transport. They even have a ferry, light rail, biogas buses, and of course, bicycling. The goal was that 80% of all journeys to work, etc., should be carried out by public transport. They haven't reached it, unfortunately. It's 79% right now, so they have just 1 more percent. There are even 3 carpools in this area for people. So this area is almost done, completed, but the city is, of course, going on, continuing. We have more brownfields. This is a gasworks area in the outskirts, I would say, of Stockholm again. 240 hectares, more or less, so still a pocket park compared to activities here in India. But this is Hammarby Sjöstad 2.0, to talk IT terms. Utilizing the experience, of course, from Hammarby Sjöstad. One of the main experiences were actually that you need to have a word in English that works when you have people coming there. So they actually started to develop it as Royal Seaport. They have also learned quite a lot during the process. One, for example, when they built Hammarby Sjöstad, they set the goals very early, and they didn't change them. But society changes, business change, new ideas come up, new technologies. So what they did was also to adapt that here. New goals could be set during the course of time. 12,000 apartments, 35,000 workplaces. Okie dokie. And of course, the companies are very, very actively involved in this area from the outset, both in different fields. So with this, I would like to hope, or it's my sincere wish, that the symbiotic concept could facilitate a discussion among companies and different stakeholders between India, Sweden, and others, and that Sweden also can be part in the transition and the work in India on smart cities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hagman. Sorry for the inconvenience. Now we are on the important phase of signing or the exchange of the MOUs in the presence of our Honorable Chief Minister. I would request all the government officials who have signed the MOU to kindly come over this side, that is side next to me, and the private organizations kindly step on dais from other side and have a shake hands, exchange of MOU, taking blessings of ma'am and then stepping down. Thank you. I would request the highly obedient audience to keep applauding the work of the MOU being done. Thank you. Foremost is Pavo, Mate Patai, Chairman, Nina and Vimal Kumar from Finnish Waste Management Consortium has signed an MOU with Shri Manish Bharadwaj, IAS, Municipal Commissioner, Vadodara Mahanagar Seva Sadan for the waste management to step towards Swachhata Mission. That has to be louder until the end. Thank you. Next is MOU is signed. Sorry, gentlemen, you'll have to give me a way to see the dais. I'm unable to do that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, madam. Next is MOU signed by Mr. Rakesh Israni, MD, Pacifica Companies, with Shri Manish Bharadwaj, IAS, Municipal Commissioner, Vadodara Mahanagar Seva Sadan for development of IT Hub. I must say loudest, not louder now. Thank you. Further ahead, Mr. Ash Verma, Company Secretary, Saloria Architects Limited, United Kingdom has signed Mr. A.K. Patel, PS Ahmedabad and CE Gujarat Housing Board for Smart Cities, Affordable Homes, Integrated Waste Management, Railway University, Amusement Park, Road and Buildings, etc. Further is investors' intention. Going ahead, Mr. Pavan Bakeri, MD, CEO. I'm sorry, we can hold on for a second. Going ahead, Mr. Pavan Bakeri, MD, CEO, Bakeri Urban Development Private Limited for housing project at Vejalpur. Many congratulations, sir. Next is Mr. Mathurbai Madhabhai Savani, Director, SDB Diamond Bowers for the development of Diamond Bowers. Along with him is Mr. Vallabhai, Mr. Govindbhai, Mr. Sevantibhai and Mr. Laljibhai has signed MOU with Ms. Swati Booch, Gujarat Infrastructure Development Board. You can check with her. Please, please.
CEO of GIDB, please.
Further ahead, Mr. Ashish, I'm sorry. Many, many congratulations, all of you. Further ahead, Mr. Ashish Bhalla, MD, VTC and Noida Development Private Limited, has investment intention signed with Ms. Swati Buj, GM, GIDB, for the development of offices, retail, exhibitions, halls, clubs, auditorium in Surat. Many congratulations. Next is Mr. Ved Prakash Dudeja, Executive Director, Ministry of Railways, Government of India, has an investment intention signed with Ms. Swati Buj, GM, GIDB, for the development of railways. Audience, keep applauding, please. Thank you. We are hungry of claps. Many congratulations. Further, Mr. S.P. Mahi, IRSE CEO, has signed an investment intention with Ms. Swati Buj, GM GIDB, and Sri Milind Torwane, IAS Municipal Commissioner, Surat Municipal Corporation, and Mr. Niranjan Jhajmera, Mayor Surat, for the development of the railways. Many, many congratulations. Next, Shri Prakash Gaur, Head Planning, Environment and Architecture, GIFC, with Shri Samir Sinha, Chairman, Indian Green Building Council, Ahmedabad Chapter, to promote Gift City as a model green city. Congratulations. It's a step towards taking care of the environment. We'll call now Shri Nitin Shukla, MD, Hazira LNG Private Limited, who has signed an investment intention with Dr. Janati Ravi, Commissioner of Labour, for construction of labour camps. A kind of corporate social responsibility. We appreciate your efforts, sir. Congratulations once again. Next is Mr. Mukund Sapre, Executive Director, LNFS Transportation Networks Limited, with Mr. P.J. Patel, Chief Engineer, Roads and Building Department. I could hear no claps. That's better. You guys are wonderful. Many congratulations, all of you. Dr. Kishore Bhai Viramgama, Chairman and MD, Backbone Enterprise Limited, has signed an investment intention with Mr. P.J. Patel, Chief Engineer, Roads and Building Department. Many, many congratulations. Mr. M.K. Mudgal, Chief General Manager, NABARD, in presence of H.R. Dave, DMD, has signed investment intention with Shri Pankaj Joshi, Development Commissioner for Rural Housing Development.
Sir.
Who is going to speak on this forum at 2. I just want to make sure that his presentation is there and his time.
Many, many congratulations. Shri Ashwini Kumar, CMD, Dena Bank has signed investment intention with PK Parmar, Principal Secretary, Panchayat for Rural Housing Development and Rural Development for Ahmedabad Sardar Awas Yojana.
Is there any registration for the speaker?
Congratulations, sir. Shri Wen Lama Lobzang, Secretary General of IBC, New Delhi, has signed investment intention with Ms. Sonal Mishra, IAS, Secretary Tourism for Development of Buddhist Circuit in Gujarat. Many, many congratulations for this. I'm sorry, nobody told me. In last. A beautiful token gift. You're obstructing my vision. Sir, you're obstructing my vision. Sir, thank you.
Is there any other volunteer? Is there any other volunteer?
2 minutes, 2 minutes. It won't take long.
He's standing. That is the only worry.
Once again, many congratulations. Mr. Nirankar Saxena, Senior Director, FICCI, New Delhi, and Mr. Radhakrishna, Director, DRDO, with Mr. Sanjay Kaul, IAS, MD, TCGL, for bio-toilets at various tourist locations in Gujarat. Raghav, come here. ये अनाउंस करने का एक राघव ये अनाउंस करने का एक बार रीड करके जल्दी बता मेरे को वापस दे रीड कर यू रीड इट Many, many congratulations. Would call upon Mr. Siddharth Verma, Director, Meher Private Limited, who has signed an investment intention with Mrs. Sonal Mishra, IAS, Secretary Tourism for the maintenance, repair and overhaul facility or C Planner. Can you read this, Dhoni? Again? I have the authority to read. No. एमने आपको एक एमने मैडम ने मरता I cannot announce this. No. No, I cannot. Whoever wants to give madam the मरता स्ता मापी दे. है ना? I cannot. Many, many congratulations to all the organizations for signing of the investment intention. A round of applause for all of them. We look for a better future of Gujarat as well as for India. Thank you very much. Thank you, Srimati Anandiben Patel, our Honorable Minister, for blessing this event and gracing this event and being over here during the investment intention being exchanged. We appreciate your efforts, Madam, and best of luck for our Gujarat. Kindly be seated as the technical session is still on the move and many more knowledge sharing yet to come. Thank you. Now you can ask.
Okay, everyone, we'll pick up where we left off. We have one more speaker, Arun Kumar, the Assistant Secretary of Global Markets at the U.S. Department of Commerce. I guess I'll ask Mr. Kumar just to try to speak over the din. I understand there'll be a little background noise as we get resorted. Mr. Kumar.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I could see that you were trying to keep this meeting on track. Well, after those first very conceptual presentations of smart cities, the elements of smart cities, from our very erudite panelists, it was quite interesting to then suddenly drop into a whole bunch of contracts, MOUs, the reality. So good to see high-level stuff and some real action. So congratulations to all those folks who signed MOUs, got contracts. Love to see more of those. What I'm going to do today is to kind of round off this panel in a sense. I lead the US Commerce Department's efforts on infrastructure development, which has great relevance for smart cities. And let me share with this audience very quickly what we've been doing in India. When Prime Minister Modi met with President Obama on September 30th in Washington, both governments agreed to establish an infrastructure collaboration platform to identify projects and encourage US company participation in a strategic and structured way. I then came out in November to follow up on this effort, and I signed an MOU with the Finance Ministry to implement this infrastructure collaboration platform. With India's infrastructure needs estimated at between $1 and $2 trillion, and the many strengths of US companies, we knew that we needed a mechanism to match the two. And the new government's plan, bold plan, to build 100 smart cities means, as a practical matter, that there will be a wide variety of major infrastructure projects across the country that will be funded by the central and state governments along with private sector capital. So the Finance Ministry is a key partner, as is the Ministry of Urban Development, and so is the private sector, especially the American Chamber of Commerce, the US-India Business Council, the Confederation of Indian Industry, and the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry in this effort. That is why on Wednesday in Delhi, we will officially launch the Infrastructure Collaboration Platform along with the private sector. In order to operationalize the Infrastructure Collaboration Platform, my office, the Commercial Service Team in Delhi, in India, led by Minister Councillor John McCaskill in Delhi, has developed a strategic plan as well as an infrastructure team with dedicated staff in our offices around India. I'm proud that our largest footprint overseas is in India. We have 7 offices throughout the country, including one right here in Ahmedabad, staffed by 70 trade professionals who help US and Indian companies form partnerships, find suppliers, and promote their products. They work with our 100 US export assistance centers across the United States and with us in Washington. This will allow us to harness the talents of the best US companies, working often with Indian partners and technologies for infrastructure projects all across India. While we still plan to work across the country, India has offered to have US industry play a leading role in developing smart city projects in 3 cities, Ajmer, Visakhapatnam, and Allahabad. This focus strikes me as a good way to start our collaboration on smart cities. It also underscores that smart cities do not always have to be ground up like Dholera, which is a very impressive story. It means that existing cities can benefit from the upgradation of their physical infrastructure, as a new overlay of IT infrastructure can make systems managing water, traffic, and energy more efficient and sustainable. This initial focus on 3 existing cities reflects the reality of how quickly urbanization occurs. Consequently, we have reached out to these 3 cities and states to ensure that their smart city programs are coordinated and planned in a way that will ultimately be scalable and replicable, such that successes can be duplicated across India. We plan to bring more US private expertise, technologies, and solutions through the partnerships that I mentioned, and we have formed a consortium of US technology and solutions providers with expertise in designing and developing smart cities across the globe. We will soon release a capabilities guide to city and smart governments as well as private developers. In addition, we have invited India to work with the Commerce Department's Global Smart Cities Challenge program, which is run by our National Institute of Standards and Technology. This year-long program, which will match cities and businesses that have shared priorities and innovative solutions. A city that is prioritizing transparent access to data, for instance, could be paired with Honolulu, which is working with IBM in that area. NIST, that's the National Institute of Standards and Technology, also plans to conduct a series of roundtable discussions with US government agencies and US industry groups and their Indian counterparts to identify actionable solutions and plans to design and implement novel infrastructure for Indian smart city projects. In addition, US IBC plans to bring Indian visitors to the United States this year to learn firsthand about US companies' capabilities, and we will support the US IBC in this initiative. I would also like to share a few developments that are in many ways tangible first steps along this journey. We in the US Department of Commerce are partnering with the US Trade and Development Agency to support the development of comprehensive feasibility studies to ensure that Indian smart cities will be state-of-the-art. Access to clean energy is an important part of smart city development, as was evident in the earlier presentations. The Export-Import Bank of the United States has agreed to make $1 billion available in financing to support the sale of renewable energy goods and services for clean energy projects in India, and it will work with the Indian Renewable Development Agency, IREDA. The US Overseas Private Investment Corporation has committed over $500 million and mobilized more than $450 million in additional private capital in India's clean energy sector. USAID is working with Texas-based company called Innovari and Uttar Pradesh Bij Company Limited, a Gujarat distribution utility, to plan strategies to grow the grid. They're building a partnership for a new energy platform based on automated technologies for demand-side management that would make the distribution network more flexible and efficient. And finally, close to here, the Surat Municipal Corporation and Microsoft recently announced a partnership to make Surat a smart city by leveraging state-of-the-art technology and connectivity to make citizen services more responsive, increase efficiency and productivity of administrative departments, increase transparency with open data, and expand digital inclusion with access to online services and digital literacy training. These are all good ways to start, but this is not enough. I do believe, though, that by engaging further, we will find more creative solutions, and we would welcome your ideas and suggestions. My department will work hard to bring US companies to Indian partners and to Indian opportunities. We see this as a big challenge on which we all will have to work together. To quote the words of our leaders when they met in Washington in September, "Chalein saath saath."
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. Excellent session, a great follow-on on this morning's introductory session. my summation from what we just heard is that we've received a great deal of evidence here that there's something behind the smart cities movement. We've seen evidence of support just delivered now from Mr. Kumar, the U.S. interest. There's money behind these projects. We have evidence that this works from Sweden. We have evidence that it is happening as we speak here in India, and that there already is a lot of thought going into projects like the one in Dolera. However, two important reminders that we need to be careful not to get ahead of ourselves. Just because the technology is there doesn't mean that that's the answer in and of itself. The citizens have to be involved, the people have to be involved. Maybe an important reminder also that if there are actually more mobile phones than toothbrushes, that we need to make sure we don't move ahead too quickly and take people along with us. Let's give a nice round of applause for the participants in our first panel, and we'll move along quickly to session number 2.